Hello, Patriots. Do you believe that it is possible for a human to see into the future, to be able to predict the future? Well, until this story that I'm about to share with you, if you would have asked me that question, I would have told you that no, it's not. But there are so many things about human nature that we just don't know about. And I do believe in this case, that's what we have, an unknown. How one man could not only see into the future, but predict the outcome of what would be happening across the United States of America that's playing out right now. What I'm about to share with you was broadcast by a man by the name of Paul Harvey that took place 60 years ago. Now think about that, 60 years ago. The year was 1965, and he was 47 years old. But first, a little insight into who he was for those of you that are much younger than myself. Paul Harvey was born September 4th, 1918. The president of the United States at the time was Woodrow Wilson. Paul Harvey died February 28th, 2009. Paul Harvey was an American radio broadcaster for ABC News Radio. He broadcast news and commentary and was most known for his talk show that he had that was titled The Rest of the Story. From 1951 to 2008, his programs reached as many as 24 million people each week. Paul Harvey News was carried on 1,200 radio stations, over 400 American Forces Network stations, and in 300 newspapers. When he died on February 28, 2009, he was 90 years old. I grew up listening to Paul Harvey. Back before the internet and cell phones, there was the radio. We didn't have Series and the things we have today. So people tuned in to shows like his to get information about what was happening in our world around us. Now, what you're about to hear is titled, If I Were the Devil. It's amazing to realize over 60 years ago how accurately he prophesied the future spiral out of control conditions of the United States that we found ourselves in today. Throughout most of Paul Harvey's career, many of his statements and stories he told were considered ridiculously outlandish at the time in history. Yet here we are today, and every single thing he predicted in his broadcast, If I Were the Devil, has come true. It's absolutely amazing. It's almost like science fiction that this man was able to see into the future. And with that, I give you Paul Harvey, If I Were the Devil. One of the most amazing things that I believe you're ever going to hear in your lifetime.
If I were the devil, if I were the prince of darkness, I'd want to engulf the whole world in darkness, and I'd have 1/3 of its real estate and 4/5 of its population, but I wouldn't be happy until I had seized the ripest apple on the tree, thee. So I'd set about, however necessary, to take over the United States. I'd subvert the churches first. I'd begin with a campaign of whispers. With the wisdom of a serpent, I would whisper to you as I whispered to Eve, do as you please. To the young, I would whisper that the Bible is a myth. I would convince them that man created God instead of the other way around. I would confide that what's bad is good and what's good is square. And the old I would teach to pray after me, Our Father, which art in Washington. And then I'd get organized. I'd educate authors in how to make lurid literature exciting so that anything else would appear dull and uninteresting. I'd threaten TV with dirtier movies and vice versa. I'd peddle narcotics to whom I could. I'd sell alcohol to ladies and gentlemen of distinction. I'd tranquilize the rest with pills. If I were the devil, I'd soon have families at war with themselves, churches at war with themselves, and nations at war with themselves, until each in its turn was consumed. And with promises of higher ratings, I'd have mesmerizing media fanning the flames.
Jessica Headley.
And I'm Ryan Wolf.
Our greatest responsibility is to serve our
Treasure Valley communities,
the El Paso, Las Cruces communities,
Eastern Iowa communities,
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But we are concerned about trouble and training.
If I were the devil, I would encourage schools to refine young intellects, but neglect to discipline emotions. Just let those run wild. Until before you knew it, you'd have to have drug-sniffing dogs and metal detectors at every schoolhouse door. Within a decade, I'd have prisons overflowing. I'd have judges promoting pornography. Soon I could evict God from the courthouse, then from the schoolhouse, and then from the houses of Congress. And in his own churches, I would substitute psychology for religion and deify science. I would lure priests and pastors into misusing boys and girls and church money. If I were the devil, I'd make the symbol of Easter an egg and the symbol of Christmas a bottle. If I were the devil, I'd take from those who have and give to those who wanted until I had killed the incentive of the ambitious. And what'll you bet? I couldn't get whole states to promote gambling as the way to get rich. I would caution against extremes in hard work, in patriotism, in moral conduct. I would convince the young that marriage is old-fashioned, that swinging is more fun, that what you see on TV is the way to be. And thus I could undress you in public, and I could lure you into bed with diseases for which there is no cure. In other words, if I were the devil, I'd just keep right on doing what he's doing.